feels less gloomy in here, so that's good.
And sound.
Take care of God.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our gathering music, number 1010 in the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough. We are an open and welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, member, friend, or guest, we are glad that you are here. We are a community of liberal, open-minded people who strive to connect with one another in love. We are defined by covenant rather than by a statement of belief or creed. We support each other in spiritual growth, deepening of faith, and challenge one another to find more love and deep truth inside ourselves and in the world. My name is Heather Kraft. I'm your worship coordinator today. I'd like to thank everyone who has made today's service possible. It is truly a gift of love. I want to thank our pianist today, David Yelton. I also want to thank Amy Dark, the newest member of our team, for creating the order of service, and AC Farrington for handing it out. Thank you to Steve Mahaley and Alex Omburo for managing our communications. And Diana Phelps for being our listening ear for today. We're also very grateful that Jean-Michel Margot is going to be our speaker. He will be giving us a short history of his life, punctuated with lots of changes geographically, intellectually, and spiritually. Before we create our sacred space and begin worship, let's take a moment to share any announcements. I don't know.
We are having a town hall on Monday. I believe that's December the 12th on Zoom. And the purpose of the town hall is to have everyone have input and talk about our justice partners, our community partnerships. We've kind of been chugging along with the same community partners for several years now. And so the goal is to talk about why we're involved with these community partners. Should we stay involved with these community partners, or should we consider changing our community partnerships? Then on January the 8th, I think that's the right date, or I think it's January the 8th, the second Sunday in January, we'll be having a committee of the whole meeting to affirm the community partners. So please don't come to the committee of the whole meeting with ideas about changing it and all of that. Come to the town hall and then talk to the people that are in charge of the justice part, and then hopefully we will be able to move through the committee of the whole meeting in January with everyone agreeing that we've made the decisions and come to the right conclusions about what to do. Our current community partners are the Northern Orange chapter of the NAACP, Orange Congregations in Mission, the New Hope Elementary School, which is the closest elementary school in proximity to this congregation, and Orange County Justice United. Line, please.
Hi, Dave Yelton. Speaking of community partners, OCIM is one, and I'm the representative to that. They have a silent auction coming up on December 6th to 17th at the thrift shop, and interesting items there. But you need to go there. It's not an online thing. It's something you have to go there and take a look at everything that's there. But there's a big fundraiser. I have a copy of this on the bulletin board out here. You can take a look. But it's December 6th through the 17th. So it's probably things that you can get for late Christmas presents, or just things that are very interesting there for forever. So take a look at it, and hopefully it'll be a big success.
Hi, y'all. There is no pathway to membership class today, but we're going to pick it up again next week following services. Anybody who's interested in membership is very welcome to attend. If you've missed some sessions, no big deal. We're going to do a big makeup thing after everything else. And I printed a new thingamadoo for your fridge, so take it home and stick it on your fridge. I added times of stuff so you can actually make plans. I think that's all, except we should introduce Annabelle, who's our newest member. She's assisting with RE and childcare stuff. So she's the new face around here. Say hi to her. She'll be here every Sunday.
And she made coffee this
And she made the coffee this morning.
First time ever making coffee.
But if it's terrible, it's my fault.
And it lists on there that December 11th, there will be a service, and then the decoration. That service is our Festival of Candlelight service, which I know is a favorite for a lot of people. All right, if there are no more announcements, let's silence our cell phones, put them in worship mode. And please, no, masks are optional. I just forgot to change my script. We will now create our sacred space by lighting our chalice, the UU symbol for the light of truth that each of us seeks, the light of hope that each of us brings, and the eternal light of love. Hey, Jacob.
This is like the thing you're supposed to do.
Our chalice lighting is Thresholds by Arlene Goff. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside, and back again, from here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation. From what we were and what we are to what we can be. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into a space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life, pregnant with possibilities. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of our beloved community? Come, you longing, thirsty souls. Come, let us worship together. Please stand in body or spirit for our opening hymn, Give Thanks, number 69. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Every Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week among our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud, while others choose to remain silent. Here we make room for both. For those of you who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. Tell us your name and share what is in your heart. When you've finished, you may release a stone into the vase on the altar. If you're joining us online and would like to share with those here, please type in your joys and concerns into the chat and let us know whether you'd like them read aloud, and we can drop a stone for you. For those of you who prefer to silently acknowledge your joys and sorrows remaining in your heart, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone in silence while David plays Voice Still and Small. After he's played it through once, we're all invited to join in singing. The words are printed in your order of service. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken. Let us remain silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. May the community respond, Amen, and blessed be. We're actually not singing the children to class because there is not RE today, which I forgot to get into the program. Which means it's now time for our distinguished speaker.
Okay, good morning. 3 weeks ago, Alison introduced the theme of the month, which is the path of change. And as example of change, she presented a brief history of our congregation, showing that change was necessary due to a lot of elements which in 22 are different or new or not existing anymore from what they were 3 decades ago. And on the following Sunday, Holly looked in a bit more dynamic way to change, with the promise and the peril of change. And she used her experience as hospice chaplain to illustrate the presentation. And last Sunday, your friend Linda, Reverend Ron Thomas, showed us that the path of change can be part of a belief system. And as Baptist minister, he was referring to Christianity. But if we consider our 7 principles, all of them represent an ideal which can be reached only by change. So today I would like to use the theme of path of change in a more, let's say, concrete and literal, personal way. A change cannot happen instantly. Otherwise, it would be a miracle. So, looking back to the 85 years of my life, I noticed a lot of changes. And one of them was to be born and raised in Switzerland and ending my life here. And the path to change begins with realizing the necessity or the desire of a change. It means a decision has to be taken facing a choice. The first event, big event in my life, I was 13, and I met a French Navy officer who was a commander and who, when he was young, met the French writer Jules Verne, born in 1828, died in 1905. So Jules Verne was very old, and that French Navy commander was almost a young person. But he met Jules Verne and he was so enthusiastic about the writer that I became interested in, very curious, and I was willing to learn more about him. So during my whole life, I read, collected, and published a lot about Jules Verne, and now I'm considered as one of the worldwide specialists of that French writer, the author of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Around the World in 80 days. But that was not really a change. It's just something which happened. The real change first was that the school system in Switzerland was organized in such a way that after 2 years of secondary school with French, German and Latin, you had to choose to add a fourth language. And the only choice at that time was Italian, the third national language in Switzerland, English, or Greek, ancient Greek. And that was not an easy choice, but what convinced me was what my teacher told us at that time. You will have every time in your life to learn English later, but Greek is the only one in your life you have that opportunity. So I chose Greek and I learned English later. Okay, you can witness that now, no? So that was my first big change based on a necessary choice. And 12 years later, with my master's in geology, I was teaching physics and natural science in a secondary school. And then I realized, and that was my choice, my own decision, I realized that I should stop teaching there because I would have a boring life in repeating every year the same things. So as a raised Protestant and not Catholic, these are the two denominations in Switzerland, being raised Protestant, I asked the Protestant mission for a job, and they offered me the job of school director in Mozambique. You have to know that before World War II, there were 5 dictatorships in Europe. The Soviet Union with Stalin, of course, Germany with Hitler, Spain with Franco, Italy with Mussolini, and Portugal with Salazar. After the war and the defeat of Germany, 3 remained: the Soviet Union, Spain, and Portugal. And Mozambique being a Portuguese colony, I had to learn Portuguese before being sent there by the mission. So I spent 2 years in Lisbon, in Portugal, learning Portuguese, being confronted with a new culture, new history, new geography, and an opening to the world, because Portuguese is spoken not only in Portugal, but in Angola, in Mozambique, and in Brazil. So it's one of the main languages around the world. Okay, after 2 years I got a bachelor's degree in Portuguese and went back to Switzerland, waiting for the permission from the Salazar regime to go to Mozambique. And usually to get such a visa took time, so I decided to get a temporary job in Switzerland, and I got a job of librarian in watchmaking industry. And when the visa came, I was confronted with the biggest change in my life, or the biggest choice. A change had to be happened, but the job which was offered me 2 years before in Mozambique was already taken by a native from Mozambique, which was normal. So the mission just told me, yeah, come down to Mozambique, we will find something for you to do. I didn't like that very much. And the job, the temporary job of librarian, interested me. I loved it because I was discovering how, it was in the 65, 66, I discovered how mainframe computers could be used in library science, in documentation, in information retrieval. So I loved that job. So it took me 1 month to take a decision, and that was the hardest month in my life. Finally, I said, okay, I stay in Switzerland. I don't go to Mozambique. And that's the beginning of the 30 years I worked with IBM after that. Because the job I did as a librarian in that watchmaking industry was a pioneer job, and I was chosen by IBM to work with them in Bern, Switzerland, for the Swiss government, because that was a time where they tried to make automatic a lot of things, including the information from the foreign office, from the, let's say, secret service, or that thing, and they needed somebody who had some ideas how to do that, how to do text processing with big mainframes. So after 30 years of IBM, and IBM, you know, Big Blue, the 3 letters, you know what they mean? Yeah? I've been moved.
I've been moved.
Yeah. In German, it means immer bis Mitternacht, always until midnight. So I changed job, and at the end of my career within IBM, I was teaching communications, how two computers could dialogue together. It was the time when analog became digital, and the whole telephony world was learning how to use a computer, and we tried to understand the analog world, and that was a very, very interesting time. And that's what brought me here. I could come in, and the first time I landed in RDU was in '85, coming for 2 months to the Triangle to develop course material in communications, of course, for IBM Europe. And the rest is practically history. Yeah. I came here in 2000. I moved from Raleigh to Hillsborough. I got married with my wife, twice, by the way. Al married us twice on a Saturday evening at what at that time was Bandidos, and the Sunday morning here. And in these 20 years I discovered UCH as my spiritual home. I never went to church for more than 30 years, and when I came here, after the first time, tell them what I said.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I told him why I was never available on Sunday morning and that he needed to come here. And it was not a deal breaker if he didn't like it. And after we left, out on the front walk, he said something that not everybody loves, but it was perfect for Jean-Michel. He said, "This is not a church. This is where people think."
And since then I was member and leader of the congregation for 20 years. During these 20 years with the congregation, I experienced 3 main changes. The first one was as I was representing UUCH at the board of directors of OCIM. I was on the board of directors for 6 years, and that was a big discovery, a big change for myself, because I discovered what poverty and precarity means in Northern Orange County. It was a big experience. The second was when inmates came to every Sunday service. For 7 years we had inmates here from the Hillsborough prison, and that changed my life to be in contact with inmates every week after week, changed my wife's life, and changed a bit the congregation's life and understanding of what inmates really are and what they have facing. Facing not only the punishment of what they did in prison, but after prison, still paying what they did to society. And that's something totally abnormal, should not happen. And the third was a few years ago, spending evenings, not nights, but long evenings with Alison and Linda to think about the future of UUCH and creating new texts under the critical eye of Alicia also, and putting together what are ruling us today, putting in place a new governance system. And that was also a big change for me and for the congregation. Now I have stepped out for more than a year, and it's the time for the younger people to lead this congregation. But during all these changes, I learned one thing. Change is permanent, is everywhere. Some are bigger than others, but you have to live with change. And change is the only thing which never changes. So you better deal with it and take the best out of it. That's what I tried in my whole life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As was mentioned in the announcements, every week we take a monetary offering to support our social justice work in the community, and this support comes in the form of donations. This month, our community partner is Orange Congregations in Mission, OCIM. You may donate by putting cash or a check in the basket that will be passed around. Please make checks out to UUCH and put plate in the subject line. You may also donate by going online to our website, uuchnc.org, or scanning the QR code in your bulletin. Please join me in the prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Our closing hymn is number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Oh, yes, please stand and body your spirit. Sorry.
Oh,
seated. Our closing words are May You Be Changed by Emily Richards. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming our better selves. Please join me in our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.